Welcome, everyone, to this special episode of The Science of Peace. This is an interview series, and you'll see many of these episodes coming out as I begin interviewing some of my contacts from around the country and around the world, specifically on yoga, the mind, communication, whatever it is that I know high-level achievers, people that are really succeeding in what they do, and everybody that I know, all of my friends, they help people. So this is people that are helping people with their specialties. I'll quickly introduce myself, and then I'll introduce my guest. If you're this is your first time coming to the Science of Peace, you found us on iTunes or something, welcome. I'm one of your hosts, Yogi Chris, PhD. I'm the founder of Ninth Limb Yoga and author of many books, host of many podcasts. I also have a PhD in the human universities, and I travel the country teaching yoga. Now, these are our opinions. This is our experience, what we give you. So take it as an adult, process it for yourself, consult with somebody that you know, but if it makes sense to you, then we're giving you our experience so that hopefully this benefits you. So today I'm interviewing Sara Alavi from Oklahoma City. Sara has been working with first responders, with veterans, and with people recovering from addiction with a very special combination of what's called quantum tapping, also implementing essential oils and yoga. And she'll talk about how she interweaves these three modalities. She has learned quantum tapping from the person who developed it, Dr. Craig, and has been certified and authorized in all of his levels of certification to be able to work with people on the quantum tapping. She's also mentored by Dr. Garland Landreth, who is featured in the documentary, What the Bleep Do We Know? So she's very knowledgeable on what she does, and she has her home base, a yoga studio there in Oklahoma City. So before I say too much about her, I'll hand it over to her if she wants to fill in any of the gaps or add on to the intro, and then we'll get into the interview. Welcome to the show, Sara.
Thank you so much for having me. I wanted to, first of all, compliment you on the way you handled all the technical difficulties we first had. We were supposed to go online right at 10. I'm very proud of you. So that tells me you walk the walk. So you go, Chris.
Yeah, thank you.
So yeah, you said it, and like everybody else, we all have, as we get older, we have a longer history of where we come from, but we don't want to get into all of that. I wanted to address what your clients and your listeners are interested in. This is my passion. This is my mission. I study all the time. I'm continuously learning. So I can perhaps best answer questions. One thing I want to share with all the listeners is such that I found yoga when I went blind because of my MS diagnosis. I had several heart issues. My mitral valve malfunctioned in my body, had extreme high anxiety, and doctors diagnosed all of that within 2 or 3 months. And I was very athletic and healthy, and everything seemed to be perfect in my life. However, I didn't have any skills to live my life skillfully. So therefore, everything was stressful. And that's how I found yoga, and my eyesight came back within 4 or 5 months after I meditated and practiced some gentle yoga. So that's maybe interesting for people to know that I have used all these things that I teach to help myself heal. And so I know this firsthand.
Definitely. Yeah, that's a super powerful story. And I'm sure, you're watering it down even, but that's amazing. You were blind with MS, and then
100%
how blind were you?
100% blind in my left eye.
And has that improved?
Oh, my eyesight came back within 5 months. I was so pleased. Within 3 days, little by little, the eyesight came back, and it was quite interesting. I saw the professors at Dean and McGee Institute for the Eye Institute, and there was nothing anyone could do for me. It was 100% blind. So that's a profound story that yoga works. The body heals itself the best, and using the skills that there's available to us, it really works. So no doubt.
Well, I can definitely say, first of all, that's amazing. I want to unpack that. I want to, you have a language. I remember talking with you on the phone last week. And so you have a way of talking about things that I resonate with. It's also a different vocabulary slightly than I use. So it opens my mind. And So really, yeah, I mean, this is my understanding is hacking into the subconscious mind, conscious mechanisms of the body. I mean, the part of you that already knows how to grow bone and grow skin and grow hair and, you know, assimilate nutrition and all of that. And so when you're saying the body already knows how to heal, and then these skills to hack into that natural, like, healing intelligence, what I like to call the biologic of the body. What were some things that worked for you? And then maybe we'll get into definitely we'll get into like quantum tapping and essential oils. What were some things that you were doing that brought your eyesight? Like, that's
well, believe it or not, I got my hands on a couple of cassette tapes. At the time, there was no DVDs. So I had 2 cassette tapes, and I had a little cassette player. I would go sit in the back of my closet in quiet. Children were little. And all I did was meditate 20 minutes every night. 20 minutes of running the energy, focusing, concentrating on the light. And that's what, oddly, one of the masters in Oklahoma City area had a lot of disciples. That was his voice, a man's voice, which I had no idea who that was. All I would do is sit in a way that I was instructed to sit, and I would meditate, close the eyes and run the energy. And I teach that meditation often. That's just one way to meditate, really. That's all I did. And only that helped me realign myself in a way that I didn't know consciously what was really going on. But now that I studied it many years later, this was about 20 years ago, that I know what was going on with the brain, you know, all 4 parts of the brain coming together, aligning, softening the amygdala, which is, well, I can go into that in detail, but in a nutshell, I think just to sit down and quiet the mind and to learn to just really watch and feel thoughts come and go rather than being active, reacting to those thoughts. That's what we don't know how to do as humans. You know, we have about 60,000 thoughts a day, which I don't think we even know where they come from. And we have 21,600 breaths a day. And no one realizes that. And no one really breathes consciously. We don't examine any of those thoughts as a general, thing to say. So with that simple meditation, that allowed me to not only breathe consciously, but also to examine those thoughts. Ask, is this thought really true? Will it serve me? I mean, how is it going to impact my life if I act towards this thought? So in a nutshell, that's the only thing that happened. And a year after that, after my eyesight came back, that's when I started my yoga teacher training program. I just delved into a teacher training program in '99, and the rest is history for me.
Yeah. And wow, that's amazing. And yeah, you look very well read with all the books behind you too. So I should have a bookshelf behind me, some portrait. I got a Buddha over here that I can look at, and I got Sanskrit sukha written on the wall right there, so that's nice. That means space. Anybody doesn't know, but I like looking up and seeing space because I feel kind of cramped in the house sometimes. So you read the word space, and space is created.
Well, books are my addiction. So.
Oh yeah, well, there's worse. We all got them.
Yes.
I just anyway. So that's amazing. That's an amazing story. I love that. It's almost like, yes, it sounds like the body healed itself. But you just had to, take back a little control over what this animal was doing. Like, hey, sit still. Like, don't move. A thought came. Okay, don't move. Observe. You did some processes. I'm sure that's amazing. And at what point moving forward did you come into, because now you're using this quantum tapping, which I'd love to unpack for the listeners, get your language about it. Like, what was the journey up until you found quantum tapping?
Mm-hmm. So thank you. That's a great question. When I started yoga teacher training program, my yoga teacher, Valerie Love, whom I'm always going to be grateful to, she actually introduced us to the tapping and the essential oils as well as other techniques. I was casually tapping at the time. Dr. Craig, that was based on Dr. Craig's work. He is retired, but everything he's ever taught and discovered, it's all online for free for everyone's access. It's EFT, Emotional Freedom Technique. So I tapped whenever I was mad, upset, sad, to center myself, I use tapping and essential oils at the very beginning of my yoga teacher training program in 1999.
For people, because I think I have an idea about what it is. What is tapping?
Okay, so it's an energy modality. It's energy work that you simply use the fingertips to tap on various parts of the body for the purpose of rewiring the mind, the brain, rewiring the brain. So many different studies, a lot of research has been done on this, so it's a done deal. Tapping works. You can rewire your own brain and change all the brain pathways. So as a child, we all are traumatized because we just are as human beings from the birth on. And we know that by age 6.5, 95% of our subconscious core beliefs are already set. So rewire our own brain pathways.
Sorry,
and that's what tapping is all about.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I think it froze a little bit. It came back. The last thing that I heard was at 95% of core beliefs were set at like age 6.
Yes, at age 6, 7, 8 max. Can you hear me again?
I hear you now, yeah.
Yes. Technology, right? So
this is wonderful. By the way, this is wonderful. You're 1,500 miles away, and all of the listeners are just probably at the coffee shop. Like, this is amazing.
I do love technology. Yes. We're so lucky to be alive at this time on the planet, for sure. So, so we use the tapping to rewire our own brain by using our own fingers to tap on several parts of the body, like that. And you can do this under the arms and inside the knees, the fingertips. You just kind of use the inside. So if you hold your hands out, the tops of the fingers that face the ceiling, that's where you tap using your thumbs like that. And then also the karate chop and inside of the knees. And and the wrists, the top and the bottom of the wrist. And doing that every day is the key. And you add affirmations with that. And it simply rewires the brain. And you can actually access your own subconscious mind and realize the limited irrational beliefs that we may be carrying with us, and not knowing why we cause our own suffering. So yes.
Wow, that's obviously, I had 2 questions that came up from that.
Yes.
Maybe one isn't really a question. It seems like I love the idea of energy-mind relationship. I teach my people all the time. I think that they're the same. They're like the heads and tails of the same coin.
Right.
2 different sides, because without, like, the prana moves where the mind moves, attention goes, energy flows there, and
right.
Kind of same. And but I heard it in your voice when you said it's a done deal. The science is there. It sounds like you, and probably predictably so, that you've been met with a lot of skepticism about how tapping accesses the subconscious mind. What are some of those skeptical things that people bring to you? How do they bring that skepticism? And what are some of the, you could call it in like sales, we would call it like objection handling. Like, how do you handle that kind of skepticism?
Well, that's a brilliant question, because that's general public. Most people want to know exactly why, and they're in their analytical mind. So pretty much it's an experiential thing. When people are skeptics, I just say, well, let's give it 5 minutes a try. Then you evaluate where you are, how you feel from 0 to 10. Say 0, you're in bliss. 10, you're breaking down because of some emotional distress or just restlessness or whatnot. And in 5 minutes of tapping, breathing, they can bring those numbers down to like a 3 or 4. Sometimes you continue tapping and you'll be a 1 or a 0, and it keeps working. And so by experiencing firsthand is like the way to go. Also, most people are familiar with acupuncture, which is an ancient the energy work, that puncturing the nadi system, which is the energy spots, the currents in the body, right? So we have the 72,000 nadis in the body. So puncturing the nadis is what puncturists work with. But I say to them that you don't even have to be punctured with a needle. You can use your fingertips. You don't have to pay anyone. You can do this on your own in the privacy of your own home. Especially at the VA hospital, that I teach yoga to veterans, and pretty much once a week. I've been there for almost 6 years. People look at me, veterans, when they first come into the yoga class, which is prescribed for 8 weeks for the veterans to come before they get released from their protocol programs. Anyhow, they're extremely skeptical. But after the class, before and after class, many of them continue classes because it works. It makes them feel good. And once you learn to center yourself and feel better after a few minutes all on your own, that is empowerment. Then people feel empowered. It's like, oh, I can do this. So, yes.
Yeah, sometimes I'll intentionally mispronounce the word empower, and I'll say empower.
Yes.
You're in your own power, empowerment.
Yeah, there you go. Pretty, I like that.
So super, I want to just clarify super quick, and just because I'm a pretty meticulous guy, so maybe we won't go as far as I thought we would go, but this is all great material. And I know the listeners love hearing a different voice. They get tired of hearing my show voice. Where would you, for somebody, I'm just curious, would you sometimes recommend acupuncture and sometimes tapping? Or where is the difference? Like, where is one able to do what the other one can't? You know, I'm just curious about that. If that makes, I don't know if that's the best question, but I think you know what I mean.
All questions are great. I personally don't recommend acupuncture myself, although of course it helps. But all I know is it takes so much time and money and energy to help ourselves and to heal ourselves as we go. I am more about teaching skills to my clients and my students so that they can empower themselves, help themselves as they go. Because each day we are bombarded with stress from all the globe, conscious, the collective suffering of the world. So to me, each morning when we wake up with stress that we don't know where we got it from. So we have to have these skills. I mean, we cannot afford time-wise or money-wise or any energy. They're just not possible for us to continue seeing other people for our own healing, you see. So yes, if you have the means and you like to, by all means go to acupuncturist. But to me, is about learning how to really help ourselves each day. So just like we take showers, clean the energy off of our body as well with yoga, essential oils and tapping. And so that's where the difference is for me.
Absolutely. So this is an interactive podcast, everybody. If you're on Instagram, you're on Facebook, if you're here on Zoom, you can always click and come to Zoom. It's easier to answer your questions there. It's more difficult other places. You can always type your questions and we'll get to those. My next, just kind of the lead in, because I know you use a lot of essential oils. And of these, I'd like to really kind of tie into how you access brain neural pathways and how you address, I mean, in for yourself, like your MS, but definitely like PTSD or any kind of really, attachment to unconscious attachment or conscious attachment to like what's happened to our past. Like, how do you use essential oils and the tapping to open that up for people?
Very, very good. So I hope that your clients find this very interesting, because to me it's very, very interesting. So let me put it this way. All people on this planet, we all experience PTSD because we all have traumas. We all have been through difficult situations ever since we're born. So therefore, I think not everyone benefits, not just simply people who've been diagnosed. So in a nutshell, when a person goes through a traumatic experience, which that simply means more than a person can bear all at one time. You see, it makes an impact, it gets stuck, and we keep ruminating. The body responds as if that experience is happening again. It could be from a memory of a father who was angry and shut the door and and the child got really scared of like, oh, daddy's angry, but then that translated into a subconscious belief like I'm not good enough or he would not be angry, something silly like that. But hey, all humans have those beliefs and experiences. And so what happens is there is a little gland in the frontal lobe of the brain called amygdala. That amygdala is a very important gland because it processes our emotions and how we respond to experiences. It could be from anything. But so the amygdala holds the memory of how our body reacted at the time of trauma. So if the body started sweating and got a fast heartbeat and we experienced fear and stress and anxiety and like a panic, we couldn't breathe that easily, or we had shortness of breath in that moment, then amygdala has that memory. So 20 years later, the same child hears a loud door slam, the body goes into that same experience, like, oh my God, something is going on, I'm in danger. So it's kind of fight and flight, panic attacks. So the amygdala keeps responding to the same experience, even though there is safety. So essential oils are the fastest, quickest, and the most ancient modality on the planet. Ever since that humans have discovered flowers and the power of the plants and herbs and whatnot. So when we actually, the moment we inhale the essential oil, that through the nostrils, the amygdala is in the frontal lobe, so it's very close to the nostrils. So when you inhale and smell the aroma, immediately softens the grip of that, the response of the body to that trauma. So within 60 seconds, the essential oil can change the mood. So it's very empowering. And eventually, after you repeat and again and again and again, you change the samskara, which is the grooves that event has had on the brain. So you're rewiring your brain as well using the essential oils. So that's it.
Yeah. It's fascinating. I have Dr. A says, yes, the birth canal is traumatic. So no matter what, if you were born and you went through that tiny little opening, that was probably traumatic for a baby.
It's true. It really is. It's a human suffering, the dukkha.
Yeah. Literally. Confined space right there. Dukkha. That's fascinating. I'm going to do a lot more research on that anatomical feature of the brain. Let's see, I found it. Let's see if I can pronounce it. The amygdala, amygdala, amygdala. That's fascinating. Apparently it's, the fear response to that emotional response kind of filters what we're able to access, within ourselves, our own resources, what we're able to hear. This is obvious. I tell people all the time, we regret what we say in anger because we get tunnel vision. We see red. We don't access our full, richest, most, helpful vocabulary. And then we also hear it. It's like when you're looking for a fight. Like when you're looking for a fight, it's like you are blind to anything the person is saying that might be peaceful. You're looking for what's wrong with what they're saying,
Correct.
This having a location in the brain, it's fascinating. I'm really going to research this, what I can do with my breathing. I hold my breath for about 5 or 6 minutes at a time, doing certain breathing techniques and really pump oxygen to that brainstem region. And I'm going to really look at that. That's fascinating. The amygdala. So we have a question from Aldo Carrillo. I don't know. They say, what are some of your favorite oils?
Mm-hmm. My very favorite oil is wild orange. I am a wellness advocate with doTERRA, and the wild orange is what I take with me 99% of the times to the VA hospital and also to the mental hospitals that I teach yoga in. So wild orange is great. It's very, very happy mood booster. It's a go-to oil for me. I also mix peppermint and wild orange together in my palm and rub my palms and take 3-4 deep breaths of it. And it's the game changer. It's like from anger and stress and like feeling really trapped and stuck, you can change the mood and feel positive and relaxed immediately. So those are the two oils I can mention at this time. They're great.
Yeah, excellent. We have DC from Instagram asks, And this is a guy. I don't know if that makes a difference as far as his question. He says, which areas should I tap to do the practice?
Okay, wonderful. Okay, so first of all, if anyone is experiencing brain injury, if they've had brain injury, if they have a pacemaker, then they have to always be very cautious to only light touch. So instead of tapping, you just lightly touch. You get the same exact benefits. And that also light touch tapping helps you get you ready for meditation, for sleep. But it's calming. So you lightly touch as if you're touching an infant who just fell asleep. You don't want to wake her up. So really, you can tap in all the places. I'll be happy to email the diagrams. They're online anyway. But around the head area, under the eyes, also the heart center, you can tap like so, or you can just slap underneath the arms. Lot of nerve endings and a lot of every spot that you tap connects to the brain. Karate chop, and inside of your fingertips, right inside. So if you hold your hands like that, notice the spots that face the ceiling. Those are the spots you can tap. So you can use your thumbs to tap inside. Very good. And then repeat several rounds, perhaps maybe 7 rounds of it. And you can deep breathe as you tap. Yeah. Belly breathing is best.
And is this how you include your yoga in it, is the breathing component of with the oils and tapping? Or where does yoga get woven into all of this?
Definitely. So beginning of the class, I always take the oils. I introduce myself. I explain how these oils work and how wonderful they smell. So it's not mandatory. So whoever likes to, they take a sniff of it. They're like, oh yeah, I like that. So I put a couple of drops in their palms and they rub and apply to their heart center. That's how I help the class center and breathe. Take maybe 3 deep breaths. And then we begin, you will use our gentle yoga poses. We begin the yoga practice. And the practice that I offer to the group, no matter where I go, is that everyone in the group can do those poses. So I don't do any posture that only 1 or 2 can. No handstands, no. It's all just doable, gentle yoga poses with breath. And I guide very closely into reminding students to keep breathing, keep relaxing the face, relaxing the jawbone. Because yoga for me, for this population, for our culture, is to bring our mind to the body. So that we can be connected, be in our bodies. So when we go through the day, we're not reacting to life and we can just respond to life. That's a huge difference there. And towards the middle of the class, I introduce we do a few minutes of tapping, because by then everyone has noticed, oh my gosh, my body is so tight. I'm holding so much tension, because they're aware of their body at that time. So we tap mainly to let go of stress and tension. We're not really getting so deep into like rewiring the brain. I may say some things, but it's mainly to get the person in their body and to feel empowered to release the tension and holding in the body as they go. And then we'll finish the class with more yoga poses and relaxation.
Definitely. I want to kind of get the most out of these last couple questions before we got to wrap it up. So anybody, if you have questions, go ahead and type them. You had mentioned in a previous call that you work, a lot of your clients or most of your clients are even men. And, I'm very interested in what are some of the more astounding connections you have found between the tapping and a person's like psychology and their psycho makeup.
I'm not sure exactly what you're asking me, to be honest, but I think what I'm going to say may be very beneficial to everyone at this time. So if you really think about this, yoga started by men 6,500 years ago or so in North India. Women were not even included in the yoga practice. It was a mouth-to-mouth culture. So only men knew the wisdom and the secrets of yoga. After the yoga made its way to the Western world, somehow miraculously or interestingly, it's dominated by women at this time. And that right there, and thinking about our culture in the West, how we're shy to allow the emotions to come through and to be vulnerable, well, I can understand why gentlemen are intimidated or hesitant to enter a yoga class dominated by women. And sadly, the fashion in yoga world, they're not exactly modest. And a lot of dancers or women.
It's hard for a guy. Let's
Yeah,
just be real here. That's hard for a guy to go into a class with a bunch of cute women that are showing a lot.
And men's body, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, are tighter than women because we bear children, so we're more flexible for the birth experience. But men are tighter, so they have a misunderstanding that yoga is about being flexible and whatnot. So men shy away from entering a yoga class, and that saddens me. And so what happened for me in my experience is because I entered the back door, so to speak, and work with a culture that are mostly men, such as like the VA hospital, then I had the opportunity to introduce and happiness, and for that, no.
Sorry, Sara, it froze for just a quick second.
Hardest part of starting our yoga.
Sorry, it froze for just a quick second. I heard
yes.
With mostly men at the VA.
Okay, so let those men be the guides or the pioneers for you to empower yourself. I'm talking to gentlemen to go and sign up for a yoga class at a studio. Yoga at the fitness centers are quite different than what I'm talking about. Yoga is about connecting your mind to the body, is about where you are, take yourselves from where you are and go from there. We have been featured in the Oklahoma main newspaper, Oklahoman, twice within the last few years. We're on first page with mature men doing yoga with big bellies and not exactly with a six-pack. And that images on the first page in many of the publications in Oklahoma featured gentlemen practicing yoga. And so let them show you that it is doable. You can do it. Just show up because you deserve the best.
Wow. We got Dr. Ace is online. She's a doctor, nurse practitioner, and she says that she just messaged her father. I guess you've inspired her to message her father to say, hey, can I teach you yoga? So that's super cool.
I have a veteran right now in my yoga teacher training program. He's a Vietnam veteran, and I have so much respect. He was an engineer, but he found the newspaper so inspiring, and he showed up to my studio, and we had a heart-to-heart talk, and he's in my yoga teacher training program. He has inspired his entire family to do yoga. So I want you to know that diving into the yoga teacher training program, even before you even take a yoga class, that is the best thing you can do for yourself. Because we all have an innate desire and longing to serve other humans. That would be the best way for all of us to empower ourselves and to prove to everybody that, hey, you can do it.
Wow. I love your advice. You come from you bring a lot of wisdom of experience too.
Thank you.
It's just apparent to my ears since I teach so much, but I teach from my level wherever I am. So we have a question from a young gentleman. I know this man from San Diego, California. He's in his early 20s. And then after this, we'll wrap it up. So we'll give everybody the information how to contact Sara and any follow-up support that you maybe want. Wonderful. So from Saul Castillo, he says, hello, these types of conversations always give a sense of peace and wholeness. Question, how does one tap into this state at any time? How can I transcend this fragmented state of being that feels trapped at times?
Mm-hmm. I love that. I just got chills. I love having you online. Thank you so much for voicing. So what I want to say is trust the process. Dedicate 10 minutes a day to yourself. If you ditch yourself and not give yourself the time of the day, you cannot ever raise the quality of life. So trust that you deserve the best, that you got what it takes, all these qualities to take you from A to B, from scattered wholeness and whole positive energy. So spend about 5 minutes a day. Begin tapping, and just tap away and do a little bit of yoga.
There's a little fragmentation. So right at when you said 5 minutes a day, start at 5 minutes a day.
Okay. So 5 minutes a day, dedicate that 5 minutes to 10 minutes a day to yourself. Apply the oils, take some deep breaths, tap a little bit, stretch a little bit, and go about your business. Trust, yes, trust the process. You may not get a drastic difference the first day, but you will. Imagine yourself 30 days from now. Dedicate this next 30 days. Trust the process. Invest, some time, 10 minutes a day to yourself, and I promise you it works.
Absolutely. Right. The cumulative effects, compound interest, like 1% a day, you'd be a billionaire by the time you're, retiring. So, and you're young, so you have really a lot of potential to just the pendulum swing and be able to turn around and help everybody that is from where you started, So that's super cool. Okay, so we're going to wrap it up. Everybody, you know how to contact me. If you're looking for this episode on iTunes, look for The Science of Peace. And so I'll hand it over to Sara. What are some ways, what are some follow-up resources? How can people find you? Is there anything coming up in your life in the Oklahoma City area or elsewhere that you'd like to plug and let people know about?
Thank you again for having me on the program. What I wanted to say to wrap this up is, first of all, we must always have faith in the human potential. We all are equal. We've been given equal opportunities and essential qualities within us. We are brilliant, intelligent, sacred beings. We are spiritual beings in a human body. We must always trust that. Know that the body feels, has subconscious, has conscious mind. No one is better than we are. So invest in yourself. Invest in yourself in whatever that you think you need. It takes a village to raise a child, right? And so we need a little bit of everything to help ourselves as we go. We deserve the best. I just want to encourage all of the listeners to continue learning, be teachable, stay teachable, be flexible, never have a strong opinion 100% in anything. Always be able to change your mind once you get more information on the subject. We are learning more and more, but yoga works, essential oils work, tapping works. I can be reached anytime. I'm very dedicated to my students. Online, I have my CDs, my MP3s for download. I have an online store on my website, and it's yogaokc.net. So it's yogaokc.net. And through the website, you're so welcome to email me anytime. My cell phone is on my website. I'm very reachable, and I love to help out if I can. Yoga teacher training program is coming up next year. So I'm here to help out. I do private sessions online as well. So if I can be of any service to anyone, or even for me to help you find someone nearby, I'll be more than happy to do that.
That's super true. Sara's been doing this a long time. She knows a lot of people and knows a lot of the, you could say, the ecosystem of this type of, you could call it self-help or personal development, but, healing yourself, finding your true potential. I wanted to say, I wish I had said this before your plugs, all those plugs, yogaokc.net, right? So I'll make sure that I put that in the description. Some of my takeaways from your talk, obviously the amygdala, that's going to be such a new research piece for me. I'm really, how it's the coalescence of a lot of emotions, fear, it's a core central feature of the limbic system, how humans emote, and things like that. That's going to be fascinating research for me. So thanks for turning me on to that. Some other takeaways I got was definitely the compound benefit of practicing just at least a little bit every day, and really turning my mind on to the idea of like energy channels moving through your body and how to access them through this idea of tapping. It's just, when I got into yoga, I tried it, didn't really like it, but I tried it. And 2 years later, I tried it again, didn't really like it, but I tried it. 4 years later, or 2 years after that, so 4 years after I first tried it, then I sought it out. But I get like kind of exposed to it so I could recognize it later, And so who knows? Maybe in 4 years I'll be a quantum guru, or I don't know. I'm just like, who knows? You never know. So I love opening up the dialogue and would be happy to have you back again, Sara.
I would love that. Thank you again, Chris. Nice to see you.
Good to see you. So everybody, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time on The Science of Peace. Namaste.